Friday, Ketchup time!
Hello world and hello Emil. How's it going? Happy Friday.
Thank you very much. How is it going? Excellent, excellent. You and I, we had an interview with Cowmeleon, the CEO of Ranger, and we're not allowed to tell too much about it. Only thing is that we had an interview and that we really, at least let me speak for myself, I'm really happy to see his passion for the community. And you as a community manager, you must adore that fact.
Yeah, I generally, I'm lucky enough to speak to different high-level profiles within the IT industry. And I'm always so surprised, it sometimes seems so far away from you, but they're also, they're humans with thoughts and feelings and stuff they have to say and passions they live. And, it's really great to get that in an unfiltered form. Just because you're important doesn't mean that you stop being a human. And I think that was kind of the experience behind it for me, that, we met another great leader in IT and had a lot of fun doing the interview.
Absolutely. And cameraman, can you my definition of the Cowmeleon, the Cowmeleon.
The Cowmeleon. Yes, I'm sure we might be hearing that more sometime.
You never know. Hey, and besides the partner summit, everybody, if you're a partner of SUSE, have a look at partner.suse.com to watch both elements of the partner summit. We also had some news in the world about ARM. ARM being bought by NVidia. And now our cameraman asked, what is ARM? He knows NVIDIA from computer games, for the hardware inside the computer, video cards and stuff. But what is ARM? Can you explain so the cameraman understands?
Yes, so basically this is an ARM. No, just kidding. So ARM is basically a lightweight chip technology. And the interesting thing about it is we all know ARM from basically our mobile devices. It doesn't matter which brand, which make you have, it doesn't matter if it's Android, Apple, whatever, they all run on ARM processors. And the cool thing about ARM processing is that the processor is built to use, or to have a minimal footprint and use minimal energy to create maximum output. That's kind of the thing behind ARM. And the interesting thing about the announcement which came this week was that ARM has been sold to NVidia. And just my personal opinion here, but beforehand, ARM belonged to SoftBank, and SoftBank was kind of this huge Chinese investment bank construct, kind of probably using ARM as some kind of asset in the tech world to make a lot of money. And I personally think it's a good move putting ARM within another technology company. Everybody knows NVIDIA from high power graphics cards. And if we think about this now, we have ARM implemented in mobile devices, in little Raspberry Pis, and now comes a pioneer in computer graphics who owns them. So what might happen there? The doors open to a lot. In the easiest case, more fun in gaming on mobile devices. There's a lot happening if you look, for example, at the new console generations, that a lot of the games in the future will be streamed to devices, and that's going to be a big market for mobile phones. Generally, mobile computing, for business users. In the meantime, we do a lot of stuff out of the internet or out of the browser, but it does need a little power to crunch. Just if you have like this huge Excel table, it actually does take a lot of power even to display it on a small device. So that's where I think it's a really great fusion between two companies who have absolute expertise in building chips for different things. I'm figuring, putting together ARM and NVIDIA will end in really great GPUs, so mobile graphics processors.
I like your positive view on this. I do also see a risk, because I know ARM from the first steps, at least from my side, was that I was at the time it was still called Linux conference in, I believe it was in Prague, and ARM had a separate OpenSource conference going on there. So it was very attached to the open source community. If it is part of NVIDIA, will the open sourceness of ARM be guaranteed?
Yeah, it's such a great question because
Thank you.
the
Thank you.
graphics market has been very, very proprietary, That's just the way it's been. But I think that, might be the actual value add that a very closed industry like the graphics industry or a company like NVidia is now investing in basically open source technology. And that could be the perfect bridge from taking stuff like general graphics, general computing on mobile devices into a lot bigger environment because of the openness. And I mean, we've been preaching this in every Ketchup and for years on end, an open source and the freedom that comes with open source is good, and it's primarily good for us as end users and maybe customers of companies because it leaves me a lot more choices. What do I want to do with the hardware, the software, whatever it is I'm purchasing? So I'm hoping if the guys at NVIDIA are intelligent enough and the guys at ARM are true to the game, they'll use open technology and open source as a multiplicator for what they're doing rather than, grabbing ARM as a technology and integrating it away. But we'll see what happens, nobody knows.
Well, thanks for your take on it. In your story about ARM and NVIDIA, you talked about Raspberry Pi. We at SUSE also have some news about ARM on Raspberry Pi, don't we?
Yes, so we've always had an image for SUSE or SLES on Raspberry Pi, which is great. But to drive kind of innovation and development, we also now have a LinkedIn group for this. So it's kind of the interesting thing is it's the first time I'm actually seeing kind of a tech open source topic not primarily be handled by GitHub or by a forum or by a classic community project, but taking a step into a platform like LinkedIn where you'll find a lot of professional users and even opening it on that side of the social planet. And I've just seen, ever since we started working with Raspberry Pis and having an image for Raspberry Pis, I've seen really, really cool projects because the Raspberry Pi can drastically help with digital transformation. Because what we've done, for example, in a couple of scenarios is we had industry customers who have machines that are basically pretty old school, and one of these machines in production, costs a couple of million in the worst cases. So you're not only going to pull it out and say, "Ooh, I need to modernize technology. I'll just throw away the old machine." But what they actually do is, for example, use Raspberry Pis to kind of make old industry machines smart. Similar to as we saw with TVs when the Chromecast came out, make your dumb TV a smart TV with a little box that can compute and that can send and receive stuff and that can be connected to other systems. And that's what the Raspberry Pi can do for industry at the moment. Or think about it. You could build a Raspberry Pi with great ARM and NVIDIA technology into a car and power the displays and power the multimedia center and the autonomous driving, or I don't know, there's a whole world of stuff you can do. And I think it's really, really great to see that at SUSE we've seen this for quite a while, and we're not just jumping on the bandwagon, but similar to a lot of stuff that we do at SUSE, we've been doing it for a long time and have a great wealth of experience. So that's just interesting to see. A LinkedIn group, you can search for it on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I'm searching, but do you know how to find it? Because my super search qualities...
I'll send you, I'll send you the article.
So everybody can, all our viewers can find it as well.
This is a new beautiful dimension, of live stuff. We're doing live demos on the internet. I sent it to you in our chat.
Oh, here we go. Yep.
And there's an article, we'll mention that. And there's also a link to the actual group in there. So please come and join this group. We have great people, as I can see, at least 12 of my connections have already joined the group. And it's people in there from sales, from engineering, from product management. And I really think this will give a really great view from so many different angles. About ARM and about Pis and about what SUSE has to offer in that space. So please join the group and talk to us, and the power of many, we're stronger together.
Talking about the Raspberry Pis and SLES, actually I remember the Raspberry Pis with SLES on it. as I believe it was SUSECon 2016 or something, that behind the screens, all SUSE colleagues that were asked friendly to come behind the screens and do the folding of those boxes, put in a Raspberry Pi, put in a power supply, put in I don't know, everything in that box. So it was really manually set together, and behind the screens we really had our own little factory, and we gave everybody who came to SUSECon in 2000, if I'm correct, 2016, they all got a Raspberry Pi back home. That was pretty cool. At least I liked it a lot.
That's cool giveaways.
Yeah, it was a cool giveaway. Yeah, it was really the surprise at the Demopalooza, which always is at the end of the SUSECon. You could win a Raspberry Pi. So well, everybody was really trying hard, and then one people won, two people won, and then they showed people of everybody, all the audience, all the names, and everybody could get a Raspberry Pi.
I have a great idea, since we're all still kind of more or less in the pandemic situation and at home a lot.
Yeah.
And one thing I remember as a really, really great experience I had as a kid is PCs weren't as far as they were today. So when I kind of got my first PC, my dad just bought a main board and a processor and RAM, and set down the box and said, if you want a PC, build it. If you try it out, if you have questions, ask me, but try and experiment and build your own PC.
Wow.
And in the meantime, with laptops and phones, it's all one device. In the most cases, you can't even get into the device. But if you want to teach your kids something about computing, a Raspberry Pi is what, $12? That's like 10 euros for us over here in Europe. Order one of those and teach your kids some tech. Have him build his own little PC to watch YouTube movies on, or to maybe even start coding or stuff. And I think that's also one really, really great side of ARM and Raspberry Pis. They can help us learn IT in a world where a lot of the IT is very often hidden in the devices and platforms we use. So just as a little Friday idea, if maybe where you are it's raining and it's going to be a long weekend, have some fun, do some tech.
Absolutely, I fully agree. And we are running out of time again. So we're going to close this, but not before we actually tell us that we have now a list of people waiting to be our guest. And
Yes.
I can tell you that we have a really great line of people coming up. We're not going to mention names, but we will give a lot of attention in the next Friday catch-ups to women in tech. And that's something I'm really enthusiastic about. And I know you as well, of course, being community manager. But we might even have some more surprises, because we have been promised by some people high up in several organizations to come and join us. So I believe we were asked to invite Melissa. Melissa Di Donato, here is the invite to you. Please tell us when you are available for being a guest in our Friday catch-up. And we love to hear all about what really motivates you in working in the open source world. So, Melissa, looking forward to see you. But we have other people lined up as well, isn't that, Chris?
Yes, and also, we are a very, very open format. We're interested in tech, in Linux, in open source. Basically, we can even do a show where we talk about Ketchup in itself if we want, So to anybody out there, if you see our Ketchups and you have something to say and you want to be featured, leave a comment, shoot us a direct message, like, subscribe, do the usual stuff, and just talk to us. We are happy to feature good and happy Friday people to talk about interesting stuff. Isn't that what it's about, Emil?
That's absolutely right. And a disclaimer, we are doing this totally because we love open source. And we happen to work at SUSE, isn't it?
Yes. That's
so,
the way.
I would say thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, complaints, send them to Christopher, and the compliments to me. And see you next week.
Bye bye.